What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Ball Game Podcast. I'm here. I'm Tom. We
Um,
got Chris here.
Chris.
I'm here. Yeah, fucked it up. We got two special guests for you today. You'll notice we don't have Matt. He'll be back very soon. Don't worry. But I would like to welcome again two very special guests. At this point, a regular on this show, a Ball Game super fan himself. We got O Sleazy in the cut, and then we got Mr. Hot Take himself, Anthony DeShields out here. It is going to be a packed episode. It's going to be a fun one. We got the Bulls, we got the Magic, we got the in-season tournament. We got some fun TikToks as always. So yeah, Chris is going to go in with some housekeeping details, and we'll get right into it.
Housekeeping. All right.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
Tom said, Matt's not here. Don't worry. Matt will be back. Wednesday will be the next podcast. You'll see him. He'll be back. Send him some prayers in the comments or whatever. He had a family emergency, but everything's all right. You'll see the next podcast Wednesday. You'll see this one as a recording under the video section of our YouTube. We're not streaming anymore for a little bit. Just want to try recording the podcasts, editing them, improving the production overall. I think, we want to give you guys a better product. So that's pretty much it. If you're listening on audio platforms, give us a 5-star review, all that stuff. Let's get into it, man. The in-season tournament.
In-season tournament, yes, it is active, and it's giving us some pretty banger games. I mean, regardless how you feel about it, it's giving us some good basketball, that's for sure. Basically, what we're gonna do right now is we're all gonna go through, and we're gonna say what we're each gonna give an X factor for every team. That if this team is gonna make a run in the tournament, this guy really needs to show up, really needs to put on for the squad. I believe we're starting out east, and we've got Monday at 7:30 Eastern, we've got the Pacers versus the Celtics. Um, so Osleezy, you're the Celtics guy. We'll let you start here. You can start with the Celtics, start with the Pacers, whoever you want. But what are your X factors, man? What are you thinking?
Um, well, I'm just gonna start on the Celtics side of things. I think the X factor for us is obviously gonna be the health of Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. Kristaps is currently battling a calf injury. He should be back sometime. It's not nothing serious, but it's more like a just we don't want it to get serious thing, so he's just kind of sitting out. He should be back by the end of the week. I think he's our X factor because he provides a really different dynamic for us on defense and on offense. And when we're playing a team like Indiana, who likes to run and gun, is probably still the number one offensive rated in the league. I'm not really too sure how accurate that is, but I'm pretty sure they're still number one. With a team like that, man, we gotta have a lot of eyes on Tyrese Halliburton. And not saying I don't trust Al Horford, but to have a luxury like Al Horford to come off the bench along with Kristaps Porzingis starting, that's the thing of beauty, man. On the Pacers side, I think the X factor for them is probably, other than the obvious Tyrese Halliburton, I'm probably gonna say Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown is a guy. They brought him in. They paid him a lot of money to do a lot of different things. Score the ball, defend at a high level. Basically, all of the same things he was doing in Denver, but just with a lot more on-ball scoring opportunities, you could say. I think that not only Bruce Brown, I don't. Obi Top is a Knick, so fuck him.
Well, okay.
I think those might be my two X factors for the Pacers and the Celtics.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I think Kristaps he just changes your team completely, offensively and defensively. The way he stretches the floor, like he not only shoots threes, but he'll take threes from like 2 or 3 steps behind the arc too. So you really got to go out and cover him. And we know this Pacers offense can get hot quick, so you really need to rely on your defenders to shut them down. And defense starts at the rim. All right, the Shields, baby. What do you got for me?
All right. I'm gonna have to bounce off Sleazy for the Celtics, but I really specifically want to hone in on Drew Holiday. I feel like Drew Holiday is the real like X factor for the entire Celtics because we've seen how Tyrese Halliburton has played. The Pacers, the way in which their offense flows, it flows off of Halliburton constantly like just being given the ball and being in charge of making decisions. It's not even like other offenses you'll see they're kind of like more robotic in the way in which they flow, where it's like people have a designated pass they're supposed to make and a secondary pass. You very rarely see a player kind of just completely take over and see how they're just the main person influencing the flow. And he's one of those few guys in the NBA right now where, like, when you watch the Pacers, you can clearly see this is just him making decisions on the fly, operating in the pick and roll, choosing when to take the screen or reject it. And so it really is on Drew to kind of tap into his like old, he was notorious for many, many years, both in New Orleans and also in the Bucks when they won the title, for being just a dominant defender, like slowing down guys like Curry and Kyrie and Harden. That was essential for them winning their title with the Bucks. And so the Celtics brought him in to not only be a great offensive player and an upgrade to Marcus Smart, but also to bring that defense that he brings as well, which arguably you could say is better than Smart's ever was when Drew's at his best. So, like, it's really on him to kind of shut that down in some way and force Halliburton to get out of his rhythm, because when he's allowed to play within his rhythm, he's very dominant. 50, 40, 90, 25, and 10 easily every night average.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. If anyone's going to give Tyrese Halliburton some type of problem on the perimeter, it is Drew Holiday. My X factor for the Celtics, kind of to piggyback off you, Sleazy, Kristaps been dealing with an injury. Don't know what his status is going to be for Monday night. I think the X factor has to be Al Horford. You know, he's obviously taken a back seat because of Porzingis. Also, it just seems like he's getting up there in age. He's only averaging 7.5 points, 6.5 rebounds this year. He's shooting 36% from three. Last 5 games, he has that up to 39, but it's going to be essential that Al Horford's able to protect the rim and stretch the floor for this team, especially if Porzingis isn't there, especially against a Pacers team that, you know, wants to get out in transition, wants to attack closeouts and try and drive and kick. You need that presence at the rim to stop the easy ones. In terms of the Pacers, my X factor is going to be Benedict Mathurin. And obviously, Tyrese Halliburton's been great this season, like you mentioned, off to a historical start, averaging 25 and 12 on 50, 40, 90.
Unreal.
But I think they're going to need Ben Mathurin to step up as a second scorer, whether that's when the bench unit's in or even alongside Tyrese, especially if Drew Holiday is giving him any type of problems. You know, Ben Mathurin's a guy who's only averaging 13 points per game this season. His splits they're good. They're not great. He's 45% from the field, 33% from three. You want to see him get that 3-point percentage up and just be more consistent. Like I said, whether that's with the bench unit or playing alongside Tyrese, I just think Tyrese is going to need help if they're going to, you know, they're going to have to go through the Celtics or the Bucks or even the Knicks, who have a really good defense. You know, these are some great defensive teams. So I think Tyrese is going to need help and going to need a second scoring punch.
True. I might even have to change my pick. I'm not even going to say that Halliburton is my X factor for the Pacers. I actually might have to switch that to being like their big man rotation, whether it's Jalen Smith or Miles Turner, because now that you mention it, it really is important with how much they run pick and roll and how much they do stuff that those other guys do contribute. And it's not just Tyrese making plays for everybody in dunker spots or finding people wide open. It's those guys being able to do their
own. I think for the Pacers, in terms of an X factor, I think the offense has kind of figured it out. Not figured it out. They've been elite.
Damn, that camera looks good.
That camera is clean, right? Shout out Logitech, sponsor me. But I think their defense is going to need to be what steps up in order to carry them through this tournament. So yeah, guys like Miles Turner, Bruce Brown, and Ben Mathurin. I'm going to agree with you there, just because we got a lot of shit for leaving him off that redraft, and maybe it was deserved, maybe it wasn't, but he's gotten off to not a great start. So yeah, I think if he steps up, it just changes the game for them totally. And all right, so that's all we have for this matchup, right?
Quick segue about that. Sure. Ben Mathurin, I don't know if he'll granted, I do think that if he's able to pop off, he will be an X factor, but it's so weird. And I mean, we've seen how Rick Carlisle is about playing young players. You know, they really kind of get restricted to kind of like being in like a supporting role where kind of like they just fulfill kind of like a gap, as opposed to him like opening them up and like giving them a chance to go off. Like, it's different with Halliburton. Like, they traded for him. They traded their best player at the time to get him. So giving him the keys to the offense was kind of a given, especially how good he is. But when it comes to Mathurin, he's kind of like been stuck these past couple of years. It's just being that guy that just fulfills the role. So it should be interesting to see if he ever actually does break out, not just in the in-season tournament, but like in general overall.
Oh, Sleazy, no free promo, bro. What the fuck is that?
It's a protein shake, bro. I don't even think it's branded. It's obviously a brand, but like knockoff.
All right. So the next game we have out in the East is the Knicks versus the Bucks. That's Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern. For the Knicks, I'll start on the Knicks side of things because I'm the only Knicks fan here.
Yeah,
all right. I think the X factor. Me and Chris were just talking about this before you guys got here. I wanted to say Julius Randle because I think he's always an X factor because he has been playing really well. No, he's been really good, like really good. But he could fall off a cliff at any point, so we know that. But I'm gonna go with Quentin Grimes. He just has not produced much for us offensively. Dante DiVincenzo has been really good off the bench, and a lot of Knicks fans are calling for him to start. I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea, especially in a tournament when you really want to get need every win you can. And against this Bucks offense that can get hot, we're gonna want to get hot ourselves, and we need shooters. We need the shooters out there to do that. We need the scorers out there to do that, for sure. And the Knicks defense has been really good. The Bucks defense has not been good on the perimeter at all. So if we can get hot from outside, I think that'll really help us against them. For the rest of the tournament, though, we see Boston in the next round. I don't even want to talk about an X factor for that because it's gonna be brutal. But yeah, so that's my take on the Knicks side of things.
Yeah, I also have Quentin Grimes. I mean, he just hasn't been good this season, averaging 6 points per game. He's shooting 36% from the field, 35% from three on the season, which isn't the worst. The last 5 games, he's 24% from the field, 29% from three.
Ew.
Averaging 3 points per game.
Ew.
It's been bad.
Yeah,
it's been bad, and they've been winning. So that's why he's my X factor, because, going up against the Celtics and the Bucks and potentially the Celtics, it's not the Raptors, it's not the Hornets who they beat recently. These are legit, title contenders, and they're going to need all of the offensive firepower they could get. Obviously, we know what Jalen Brunson could do. He's carried over and picked up exactly where he left off last season. Like you mentioned, Julius Randle's been coming alive as of late. RJ Barrett's had his moments where he's looked really good this year. We know what Josh Hart and Dante could do off the bench. And Mitchell Robinson's been a force down low. So if they're missing something, it's that sniper of a 3-point shooter. It's that guy that they could run off pin downs, and if they need a 3, they could get him the ball. So I think Quentin Grimes has to be big for them to potentially win this thing. And I think they're in the running. Like, they've shown they could beat good teams.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree.
I think for the Knicks, just like Obi was just talking about, he was talking about they need a go-to 3-point shooter, and I really want to point out just really how impressed I am with how RJ started the season. Like, over his first 7 games, RJ was averaging 23. RJ was averaging 23 points a game, 3 points, 3 threes a game attempted, and shooting 49% from that. Or 50% from that, something like that for the first 7 games, right? So he came in there strong, and even now, these past couple of games, he's definitely slowed down a bit, but he's still shooting. He's still shooting 50% from 3. It's not that much.
Come on, don't wave it off.
He's still shooting 50%. It's not like his field goal percentage went down because it was something outrageous, but he's still shooting 50% from 3. This is the best.
That's outrageous.
It's crazy. It's insane.
Gonna go down.
Yeah, but it's insane.
But it's a crazy start to the season, and we're used to seeing RJ kind of really stinking
bad. Yeah,
really be bad. And so if he's able to come in there and be it was always theorized that if he was able to be the 3rd scorer after Randle and Brunson, that they'd be a reasonable team. And part of the reason why you see the Knicks involved in so many different trades, more on that later. So many different trades is because he's been unable to tap in. And he's one of those guys that's been in almost every major trade package to bring a semi-third star to New York, whether it's Paul George or whoever. So, him showing up right now is really essential. And for them to win this tournament, like, they need to see more of that. For the Bucks, I need to see more from their wings. Like, Malik Beasley has had like some nice shooting games, but it really seems like outside of Giannis and Dame, and even Dame has had like some really, really, really bad games this year. Like, outside of Giannis and Dame, it seems like everybody's just kind of going through the motions. We've seen some great games from Brook Lopez, but this is not the Brook Lopez we're used to. We've seen some good games from Bobby Portis, not the games we're used to. And the wings, more than anything, have just been atrocious. Like, I have not heard anything or seen anything like remotely super impressive from Middleton this year. Malik Beasley is mid, and Marjan is mid too. So I really need to see more from their wings, either defensively or just from an offensive standpoint. It needs to be more than just the big duo, not just for the tournament, but for the season as a whole.
I have Bobby Portis in fantasy. He's been selling the bag, man.
Yeah.
Come on, Bobby.
Not doing what he's supposed to do.
I think probably my X factor for the Bucks is probably going to be the big and forward rotation, because we know the Knicks are like heavily reliant on offensive and defensive rebounding. And I was watching the Bucks and Bulls game yesterday, and the fact that Brook Lopez ended that game with 4 rebounds, like,
talk about it, bro. Talk about it.
That's what he does, though. He averages like
Zach.
5 rebounds a career.
Like, I know,
Zach, no DeMar, no problem.
Yeah.
I know Giannis is like the engine that runs that team. He wants to get every rebound. He wants to get every point. He wants to. We know how Giannis is. He plays at 100 miles per hour. But like, if you're Brook Lopez, if you're that close to the rim, you can't fit. I don't care who you play. I know the Bulls aren't the same team as the Knicks, so to speak, but there's no way you end a game with 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
Come on, and talk about what Vucci Mane did to him too.
Hey,
come on, man.
Vucci did. I gotta get credit where credit is due. I didn't expect that out of Vucci. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I think because if you watch that first with the Knicks and the Bucks, like, the only reason that game, other than Jalen Brunson going absolutely ballistic, the only reason that game was really that close is because of the offense and defensive rebound that the Bucks were just giving up. Like the ball was coming off the rim. Granted, Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo are very good rebounding guards, but at the same time, nobody was boxing them out. They was let them walk right to the front of the rim, grab a rebound, giving out second chance points. Granted, the Bucks won the game, but if you wanted to be like a blowout, you have to clean the glass, because everybody know how the Knicks want to play at this point in time. And I think an X factor for the Knicks, yikes. It's weird because they kind of got they got 2 Julius Randles on their team, so it's like it's hard to pick. I'm probably had to go with Josh Hart. I think if Josh Hart is playing well, I'm not gonna lie, I have not really watched a lot of Knicks games this year. I watched a few. I haven't watched a lot to really give a very bold statement as to what I think they need to do against the Bucks. But I think with Josh Hart, they got a lot of dirty work guys, but I think Josh Hart kind of leads that pack for that team, kind of in terms of dirty work things. And against the Bucks, you're gonna need somebody like that. So I think he's gonna be there. Very, 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 very X factor.
Yeah, I think if the Knicks can just shoot the ball well, I think
they'll
have a really hard time starting stopping him.
Yeah. Josh Hart, I put him on the thumbnail for this because
I
didn't even have him as my X factor, but I knew someone would have him. Just when you talk about X factors, you got to talk about.
When you think
Josh
of the word
Hart.
X factor, Josh Hart kind of just.
Yeah, in terms of the Bucks, I took a different route with this one. I wanted to diversify my list a little bit of X factors, and I don't know if this is like an easy way out or whatever, but I went with Damian Lillard. And my reasoning is sometimes it could be just as simple as you need your star players to show up.
Facts.
And I kind of think that's what it is for this Bucks team. I mean, you guys mentioned things aren't perfect for them.
All right.
And certain guys are struggling outside of Giannis and Dame. And they're winning in spite of that. They've been on a heater recently. And why have they been on a heater? Because Giannis and Dame have been balling. I mean, Dame in his last 5, he's averaging 28 on 46% shooting, only 33% from 3. We know Dame could shoot the ball better than 33% from 3, and he's still out there killing it. And he's averaging 8 assists over his last 5 too. I mean, if you get Dame playmaking at that level, giving you 7 to 8 assists while he's also giving you near 30, we know what Giannis is going to do. Like, I think no matter what the other guys do, if Giannis and Dame, that's why I picked this team to win the East. To me, it was just as simple as if Giannis and Dame are doing what they do, I don't see many teams having a chance to beat this team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went with Dame.
I also went with Dame for similar reasons because like you said about the star power, you just need your stars to ball out. But the other thing is the things that they're bad at, the perimeter defense and the rebounding. Rebounding is, we always say those are effort things, right? Like, and the thing is, if you don't get guys that are going to give that effort, and defense is a lot of size and athleticism and natural abilities too, that's not going to get better anytime soon. So you need to be good at what you're good at. And so I think that with the Bucks, the thing that's surprised us is that the floor can be as low as it can. That these guys can look really bad, and Dame can have really bad shooting nights, and Middleton is basically, hasn't done much this season at all. But yeah, I think if Dame and Giannis are hot, they're near impossible to beat despite the flaws they may have. All right, so I think we covered everything there.
Yeah, man.
All right, so next up, Monday night at 10 p.m., immediately following the Pacers-Celtics game, is the Kings versus the Pelicans. I'm really curious to see where
That's
guys.
gonna be a banger.
I feel like these teams are just X Factor teams. Like, these teams can just get hot and kind of beat anyone. So, let's see. Chris, you want to take the floor on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna start this one. I've been watching a lot of Pelicans games. I just feel like the Pelicans, whenever I go on League Pass, like, they're in the third quarter of a pretty close game, and I'm like, you know what? I'll watch the end of this. And they're normally late, so that's when I get home from work. So that's kind of like, it's either I'm watching the game that's on TV, that's a blowout, or I'm watching the Pelicans versus the Jazz, that's actually a close game. So I've been watching a lot of the Pelicans, and this team is deep, man. This team is deep. And, we'll talk about it later when we talk about our predictions of who's going to win this thing. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek there. But my X factor, I think it's obvious. I think it should be pretty consensus. It has to be Trey Murphy. Just played his first game back from injury. He gave you 18 points, shot 40% from 3 in that game. Trey Murphy's spacing next to Zion takes this team to a new level. When you have Trey Murphy and Jordan Hawkins out there, it's spacing on this team that we haven't seen in years past. CJ's getting back. You add CJ to that mix. That's elite shooting around Zion and BI when you want to go small and have Zion at the 5. Even with Valanciunas out there, if he has to be out there, having Trey Murphy and Jordan Hawkins is elite spacing. So I'm going to go with Trey Murphy. If he's shooting that ball well, it just makes everyone else's life easier. I mean, we see it. Zion's been on a tear lately. It's a pretty simple equation. You surround Zion with elite spacing, Zion's gonna be a top 10 scorer in the league, maybe even pushing top 5. Just with his efficiency around the basket combined with elite spacing and his plus playmaking, they're hard to beat. They're not an easy out.
Yeah. I'm gonna wheel in a different direction. I'm gonna say that the X factor on the team really is JV. When Valanciunas is on the court, like, he's often like removed from it, and they prefer to play in like small lineups most of the time. But when he's on
especially when Larry Nance is healthy.
Yeah, especially when Larry Nance is healthy. So when like he's able to come out there and get tons of boards and be efficient, throw in 15 to 20 points a game, like, that is some clutch interior stuff, especially when they start getting further into the tournament and start playing big teams. I feel like, again, in this specific game right here, the X factor is huge because he's going to be playing against somebody like Sabonis. You have absolutely positively no choice but to play JV for long stretches because Sabonis is going to get 20 boards respectfully on Larry Nance or anybody else if JV is not on the court.
Yeah.
So I think he's definitely the X factor in this situation. Trey Murphy is definitely an X factor on his own right, but I feel like there's so many wings that have shown up in some capacity for the Pelicans this year. We've seen Murphy do it. We've seen Hawkins do it. We've even seen Najee Marshall do it in certain small stretches. So I feel like they always have a wing that's able to go out there and do something. In this specific scenario, you need the big. For Sacramento, man, Sacramento is one of my favorite teams to watch these past 2 years. Beyond the fact that I'm a big, huge Kentucky fan, OB knows this, and they have the Kentucky backcourt. I feel like the X factor in this situation, straying away from them, is actually Keegan Murray. He's been struggling with health a little bit, in and out of the lineup, and I feel like if he's able to come through and play in this situation, he's gonna really add a whole new dimension because that's going to pull Zion out. It's going to pull people out and really adjust the Pelicans defense. This is a guy that set the rookie record for 3-pointers made last year with 187. Power forwards, and he shoots everything. He does. It's not just a whole entire catch and shoot situation. Keegan Murray can come around a pin down and bury a three. This is a guy. This guy has a laser. And if he's able to come in there and be like that, that's part of what makes Sacramento so dominant. Fox being able to do what he does, explosive scoring from Monk, Sabonis being a capable passer and amazing rebounder, especially offensively. But Keegan Murray being able to come in there and just knock down threes at any given moment adds so much to the Kings offense.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of that real quick. So you mentioned Keegan Murray, and the first thing you mentioned is his health concerns. That's why I kind of went in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan Murray is another guy I have in fantasy who his health hasn't been helping me that much right now. But I went with Harrison Barnes as the X factor just for the fact of I don't know if Keegan's going to play. And, we know how the Kings want to play. They want to get up and down. They want to run that two-man game, whether it's with Fox and Sabonis or Monk and Sabonis, and you need the floor space for that. So Harrison Barnes' ability to stretch the floor is going to be huge, especially if you're missing a guy spacing like Keegan Murray. And Harrison Barnes has been exactly what Harrison Barnes has been for pretty much the majority of his career outside of the 2016 finals where he wasn't good. But Harrison Barnes is solid, 15 to 18 points per game on pretty good efficiency with average defense.
Mm-hmm.
Love Harrison Barnes.
So, Shields, I like what you said a lot. For the Pelicans, I'm also going to go with JV just because, like you said, you pretty much covered everything. They can get wing help from a lot of places, but JV is he's I think the one guy on the team that can really give you a big-time game, like a 2020 game even, he's capable of or close to it, and then he can spread the floor. And, yeah, if he can out-rebound Sabonis and keep him off the glass and keep the ball out of his hands, that's even better. Not going to go too in-depth about that because you really nailed a lot of things. I'm gonna go with a different guy for the Kings just because Keegan Murray is a great answer, but I think he's the obvious answer. I'm gonna go with Mr. Red Velvet himself, Kevin Huerter, because at the start of last season, he was shooting 50% from three or something, and then just fell off a cliff. And he's been solid this season, but Malik Monk is a guy that you're either the highs are really high, the lows are really low. He's one of those guys. Kevin Huerter's kind of middle of the pack, but he can jump one way or the other. I think if he gets hot, and we know he can get hot from three because he's been a volatile shooter before, but and he can give you solid defense too. He is 6'7", so he can be out there guarding everyone. But yeah, if he can give you some good defense and get hot from three, it's just another element of this game. And Fox, I mean, no one can stop him. So if you have another guy that's cooking, it's going to be really tough to stop.
Yeah, Huerter's definitely improved as a positional defender since his days in Atlanta. He's come a long way since when he was in Atlanta.
For sure.
I think my X factor for New Orleans, I'm gonna lean towards Brandon Ingram. You guys make great points about Valanciunas. We know what Zion's gonna do, but I think Brandon Ingram is really the separator between. You got D Fox on this side, who's really just gonna get his 25 with his eyes closed, and you got Zion over here who's gonna get his 25 with his eyes closed. So, where I think Sacramento has guys on that roster that can give you 15, 16, 17 points a game. but we know what kind of scorer Brandon Ingram is. I think he needs to be. Well, it really depends if you want to call him first option, second option. It really depends on the night between him and Zion. But he really just needs to be that high volume scorer against a team like Sacramento, especially with Keegan Murray not playing. So they don't really have a lot of guys that's really just going to hope to contain Brandon Ingram, like Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, maybe. But other than that, there's not really a lot of guys on that roster that can really guard or contain Brandon Ingram. And I think for the King side, I also pick Kevin Huerter because if Keegan Murray doesn't play, they're gonna need steady shooting throughout the game. They're gonna need probably, how y'all said, positionless defense, other than like bigs, obviously. But like, I think in order for them to even be like remotely close in this game, other than De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis doing what they do, Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter have to be on their A game if they want to win this game.
I think, like OB said, like if Keegan Murray doesn't play, like Harrison Barnes will probably move to the 4. They'll probably that's like you guys are saying, Horder will probably be there at the 3, and then Monk might start. If Keegan Murray doesn't play, so yeah, like those 3 guys really sinking, definitely matters. One little thing about Brandon Ingram, like I used to be really big on Brandon Ingram. I've since been very much down on him. I feel like it's really problematic when you have a duo of like your superstar 2, and they can't seem to really sync together like good and like great nights at the same time. You don't both have to be amazing, but one person can be amazing and the other person has to be good. But I feel like that rarely happens, and I think that's mostly because of him. His shot selection, sometimes you really watch the Pelicans games, is spotty. He sometimes takes very unwise shots. He's a ball dominant player and a capable passer, but sometimes he chooses not to pass, even though we've seen him do that when Zion was out. Make passes, like consistently average 25, 7, and like 6 or 7 even. And he refuses to do that in many situations now. I don't know what it is, whether it's an ego thing or just some natural aggression kind of thing, but he definitely does need to figure it out. X factor or not. They need to figure out a way for the duo to work. Otherwise, they need to blow it up. There were talks this past season and the offseason about blowing it up, and Brandon Ingram was a name that was thrown around a lot as a possible trade partner to Portland, or Zion as a possible trade partner to Portland before Dame departed. So definitely something they need to consider.
Yeah,
so
definitely something to keep an eye on. Yeah,
something that's a little bit interesting about that is I love Brandon Ingram. Everyone knows I love Brandon Ingram. I will always vouch for Brandon Ingram. I think just skill wise, he's at minimum a top 25 player in the league. Like he's elite. Right. I don't think his skill set just works with Zion. I think something that makes Brandon Ingram so great is his ability to self-create and get to his spots. A lot like KD does, where KD will, he could handle the ball, bring the ball up, but KD a lot of times you want to get him in a spot in the mid post and then clear out and let him work type of thing. Even when he brings the ball up, it's a lot of, all right, I'm going to bring the ball up, spread out and let me work. I'm either going to, get to my spot for mid-range or pull up 3 or occasionally get to the rim. If not, I'm going to kick it out for 3. Zion is a guy who gets to the basket. He doesn't play well off of a guy trying to get to his spots and kick out for 3 because he's not a 3-point shooter. Zion's skill set is a match for like a Trae Young or Tyrese Halliburton for an elite point guard. So I'm starting to question whether their skill sets match. I know Brandon Ingram's a good playmaker, but Brandon Ingram gets, like I said, kind of gets his assists in the same way KD gets his assists. KD had, I think, 12 assists last night, but KD's not doing like any generational playmaking, passing guys open. It's, I'm going to try and get to my spot. The defense is so focused on me that you guys are so open that I have to pass it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because this team could still win games. Like I mentioned earlier, they're so fucking deep. We've been talking about them for 10 minutes. We haven't mentioned Dyson Daniels, who leads the league in deflections. Dyson Daniels is one of them ones. So
one of them ones.
I feel like a testament to you mentioning Trey Murphy like as a breakout and as a possible like impact player is a testament to like just how much like how off the Brandon Ingram fit sometimes is, because like it really gets to the point where Murphy is able to explode in such a really big way because like Ingram sometimes is just displaced on the court. That's why we see sometimes quiet games from him where he's getting 16 to 19 points and next to no assists, no real significant impact. So
Well, yeah, and also I just think he's so important, Trey Murphy and Jordan Hawkins too in this case, is because both of them, Brandon Ingram and Zion, whether it's both of them on the court together or just Zion or just BI, both of them thrive with, like any player would, any star player would, they thrive with shooting around them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think they can win this thing, man. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and the last quarterfinals matchup we have here is Tuesday at 10 p.m. immediately following the Bucks and Knicks game, and we've got the Lakers and the Suns, and they might have the two most interesting X factors because the Suns, I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is Bradley Beal because the guy just hasn't played, and if he can play, it's so interesting to me watching the Suns where, you know, you watch the games without KD, without Book and Beal, which has been a few of them, and you watch KD just have to do everything, and you're like, man, if only they had another like really good scorer out there that could take some pressure off of KD. And it's like, wait, they have two of them. These guys just Booker's been playing more and more, but Beal just hasn't been able to get on the court. And I don't project that he's really going to much more than he has already. So my X factors for the Suns is just going to be their bench scorers. I mean, they just have to get offensive production from somewhere other than KD. And even if Book's out there, that can be enough to surge you past through games. But against these better teams like the Lakers, like the Kings and the Pelicans that they'll have to play if they win, you need to get that production from somewhere else. And for the Lakers, again, I think they have a couple of options. I'm going to go with Austin Reeves because I feel like people have put a lot of weight on his shoulders this season and he hasn't performed. Now, is that a testament to, did people expect too much from him? Did they, or is he just overrated? Maybe it's a little bit of both, but he's just been so up and down with his scoring production. I mean, he's averaging 13.5 points on 46% from the field, which isn't bad, but 31.6% from three, just not going to cut it. 4 rebounds, 5 assists, decent stuff, but we need him to be that really impactful player that he was for the Lakers in the postseason and was the reason that everyone gave him all this hype.
Mm-hmm. Just to piggyback off of that, I think for my X factor for the Lakers, I was tempted initially. If you asked me like a week ago or 2 ago, I would have said Anthony Davis, just given how annoyingly inconsistent as always his games are, where he will have 35 and 12 and then the next night have 18 and 7.
9 and 5.
Like 9 and 5, 18 and 7. Like it's the most annoying thing ever. I don't think we've ever seen a player just so hot and cold like him in the NBA, apart from like maybe 1 or 2.
A guy looked like a top 10 player one night, and then what is he doing out there another night?
All YMCA the next night.
Yeah.
But I will say that the X factor, just piggybacking off the Reeves thing, is their backup wings, like really just their bench mob. Like the whole entire signings of Taurean Prince and even Jackson Hayes, Christian Wood, of course, and Cam Reddish. Those guys just come in there and just fill a role, and the role that they fill, you can clearly see like a night and day between how this Laker team looks and how previous teams look. Like obviously LeBron is like as great as LeBron is right now, he's obviously not as good as the LeBron from last year, the year before that, when he was averaging 29 a night. But like we've definitely seen these bench signings pay off in a huge way, and we always said whenever we talked about the Lakers that it just seems so top heavy and they don't have role players that can kind of come in there and have an impact. And they definitely have those guys right now. And I feel like to make up for the fact that Austin Reeves has, struggled this season, those guys have really came in the clutch and they've been able to deliver the Lakers certain games, especially in this tournament where I think they're undefeated. On top of that, I feel like Reeves would probably, I feel like we gave him a little bit too much pressure. I feel like he probably would be better off. His ceiling, I always felt, was as like a really good 6-man type guy, like a J.R. Smith kind of guy. Like he's LeBron's version of J.R. Smith, except like like a better version because he's a better passer and stuff like that. But like the idea of him being like a third star on the team was something that I never truly believed in. A lot of Lakers fans went hype for it, but I never truly believed in it.
Yeah.
On the Phoenix side, I want to stray away from the obvious answer, and I want to say that the impact player is probably Eric Gordon. We've seen how Eric Gordon has came in there and plugged and played, especially like when Bradley Beal is out, when Booker is out. He'll have games where he'll perform really, really well. He'll have games where he's getting 10 points and shooting terribly. This is a guy that won Sixth Man of the Year. This is a guy that's won 3-point contests. This is a guy that's regularly shot 40-something% from the three in his peak and even past his peak. And if he's able to come up there and shoot really well, whether Bill plays or not, that's a third facet, like asset to the team, beyond like what KD has been doing or what Booker's been doing, because those guys have been playing absolutely ridiculous when they see the floor. Booker has been wow, and KD like the same way. So it's actually crazy.
Wow.
Booker has been wow. That's a good way to put it. Honestly,
When he's averaging almost 30 and shooting.
He's unreal. It just hits like the crazy, some of the toughest shots I've seen. But yeah.
So what do you got for us, bro?
I think my X factor for the Lakers, it was really hard for me to pick anybody but Anthony Davis because how y'all said of how wildly inconsistent he is. And against a team like the Suns, bro, I don't think there's minimal room for error when you play in a team like the Suns. If Devin Booker, well, really, even with just KD by himself, but if Devin Booker does play, they're gonna be a really hard team to guard. And I feel like for Anthony Davis, not only I don't never question anything he does on the defensive side because if he's not scoring. Not 10 times out of 10, Anthony Davis he's going to play defense or at least try. He's going to give effort on the defensive end. And he was my early pick for Defense Player of the Year. It was looking all right to start the season, but stock's kind of going down a little bit. But it's really just on the offensive side because we all know what you're going to get from LeBron. We know we're going to get from, well, we don't really know what we're going to get from D'Lo. He was my other X factor, but it was just really hard for me to not pick Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you know what you're gonna get from the role players on certain nights, the Torian Princes, the Ruiz, the ARs. You know what you're gonna get from those guys, but I think that team goes as far as Anthony Davis takes them. Like, don't get it
true
wrong.
For years, yeah.
Yeah, LeBron can very much win that game by himself. There's no doubt about it. But that's not in this point of LeBron's career, that's not what he's here to do. He's not here to give 45, 15, and 12 and outduel Kevin Durant, even though that's what the narrative is surrounding games like this is Bron versus Kevin Durant again. But I just feel like Anthony Davis has to be the determining factor in the game. And I feel like for the Suns, my immediate thought was Yusuf Nurkic because of the game I watched last night when they played the Nuggets. He played a pretty as perfect of a game as you could play against a guy like Jokic. And I think
cooking him, bro.
If he brings that kind of energy to LA,
you could say it. He was cooking Jokic.
if he brings that kind of energy over to the Lakers, bro, it's Anthony Davis is gonna have a rough night having to guard Kevin Durant on possessions while getting cooked by Yusuf Nurkic. It's gonna get a little scary.
Yeah, so for the Suns, I also had Yusuf Nurkic, like you said. He cooked Jokic last night. It was actually crazy. Like,
it was crazy to watch because I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on. He kept them in that game for a good chunk of it. But, I mean, you look at all the...
Here's that chip on his shoulder, bro, when he got the Nuggets.
I mean, you look at all, like, the advanced stats, the on-off stuff on Basketball Reference. The team's just better with him on the court. Obviously, a better rebounding team. The offensive rating's a plus 6.6 with him on the court. You know, everything's just better with him on the court. And, you know, in a bracket with Anthony Davis, Sabonis, Zion, and Valanciunas, like, your bigs are going to have to be physical and show up. So I think Nurkic is key. I mean, we know Anthony Davis is as great as he is, he can be contained at times. And I don't think Nurkic is some all-world defender, But what Nurkic could do and could provide, especially in this game, is banging with him down low, banging him down low, and, tiring Anthony Davis out. And that's when we see Anthony Davis settle for jump shots, settle for threes, dribble pull-ups in the mid-range, and not be at its best attacking the basket. So I think it'll be interesting to see how those two match up with each other. And I think Nurkic is, like I said, the key to them running through this West bracket. In terms of the Lakers, I mean, we mentioned it before we started recording. It's D'Angelo Russell having arguably the best season of his career right now, not getting talked about nearly enough. He's averaging 17 and a half, 60% true shooting. He's shooting 49% from the field, 42% from three. Over their last 5, he's shooting 50% from three. He's playmaking at a high level. He's been great in the pick and roll, and obviously he's shooting the shit out of the ball right now. If he could keep that up, the Lakers are hard to beat, especially with Austin Reeves' kind of offensive struggles, I guess you could say. He's been all right, Austin Reeves, but I think we expected him to be the third scorer for this team, and he hasn't been that. Yeah. He hasn't been that, but D'Angelo Russell has taken that role and ran with it so far this year. So if he could keep that up, the Lakers are hard to beat.
Yeah, they also, against Phoenix, they get Jared Vanderbilt back, and when they played Phoenix earlier in the season, in the second half, they put in like Christian Wood on Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant was cooking this Lakers team. Yeah, and it was bad. So that's definitely going to help. But the Lakers.
Wood was doing a very good job against.
No, them. Yeah, when they first put him in I think the fourth quarter, or maybe it was the second half, he was doing a really. I'm like, how is Christian Wood like actually guarding Kevin Durant?
It was more like a fresh legs kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Kevin Durant was kind of, he wasn't gassed, but
Yeah. And everyone on the Suns was bricking, and they still almost won that game. So. Yeah. It should be really interesting. So I probably should have been asking this as we go along, because we're going to go through the whole bracket. But who do we think takes this game, the Lakers or the Suns?
Yeah, we'll start with the bracket here.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know me. I'm a Suns truther and a Lakers hater.
Lakers are home, that makes a difference to you.
Gotta ride with my boy KD in this one. KD versus the world, man. Come on.
I think
it's one game elimination. I'm just going off vibes, man.
Right. Yeah.
In a one-game elimination scenario, I feel like, it can be the easy answer. The easy answer would just be to say KD and Booker. Those are two guys that any given day, like we always say, on any given day, these guys can drop 30-something points, and this is technically any given day. I'm going to go with LA in this one, though. And the reason why I'm going to go with LA in this one is just simply because I feel like when you see all these other guys in there, like you see, like I was talking about, guys like Cam Reddish, guys like Rui, Wood, like these guys have tremendous confidence playing with LeBron, playing in this tournament. Like LA struggled regularly, but in the tournament they basically went undefeated, I'm pretty sure, or they only lost one game. And so it's clear that like when it comes to this tournament, they mean business. They beat the Suns, and when they played in the group stages. And they beat them because LeBron went off, and because Reddish shot really well, and because like D'Angelo Russell played really well in that game too. D'Lo had 19, Reddish had 17, and LeBron had 32, 11, and 6. So I feel like in those one-game scenarios, both sides have people that can really just go off. And I'm leaning to the side that has more depth as opposed to the team that has two guys that can drop 30.
Yeah, I'm also going to rock with the Lakers, mostly just because of vibes. Like, I'm just going to take LeBron and AD because, bro, if AD has a game where he drops 35 and 17, like, they're going to win.
Yeah.
But more like logistically, I'd say the Lakers have a deeper bench, more guys you can rely on to give you solid productivity. So I'm going to go with the Lakers.
It's really hard for me to not pick my glorious king, LeBron James. Like I said, it's a single game elimination, bro, and it's really hard for me to not pick LeBron and the Lakers to win a game of this kind of caliber. Like we know Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a guy that can easily be contained, but I feel like the Lakers can really make it hard for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I don't think that it'll happen. But if there's any team that they're playing that could at least hope to try and contain it, make life hard for Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, it's the Lakers. And, strictly all vibes, my glorious king LeBron James, he wants that $500K, so I'm picking the Lakers.
Yeah, he needs it. Definitely needs that 500K.
Yeah, billionaire definitely needs that 500K.
Yeah. All right. So the next game we'll cover is the West. Like I said, we pretty much
OB,
covered
you
everything in
didn't
depth.
pick. Oh yeah, OB picked the
Oh,
Suns.
I'm sorry, you didn't pick. Oh yeah, you picked the Suns. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And this game might be the most vibes game out here. The Kings versus the Pelicans. I think you just strictly go with vibes for this one. One team's gonna be hot, and yeah, I'm gonna go with the Pelicans. I'm gonna rock with them. I don't really know why. I just like I said, Fox can go for 40, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I should have seen that coming. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go with the better one too, though. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Pelicans.
I'm gonna have to go with the Kings. I think that this is a situation where the Kings. I feel like, as much as the Pelicans are a flamethrower, I feel like not picking the Kings in this scenario is kind of disrespectful because this is kind of the games that they win. Like these are the regular season games that they win, so to speak. Like games where you walk in there and you think, I don't know if it's gonna happen, and then they come in there and then like Monk has like 20 something off the bench, and Fox has 30 or 40, and Sabonis gets a double, and then other people just get like two or three other guys get double figures. Like this is the kind of thing that like I think that they would do. And I feel like Zion's really been rolling in the past couple of games. And so respectfully, I feel like Zion's just due for a stinker. And I think this is just what it's gonna be.
Well, I'm gonna lean towards the King as well. Just purely, strictly De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk vibes. I think the Pelicans could very much win this game in like very out of orderly fashion. But I just think with a guy like, if it's a close game with a guy like De'Aaron Fox on your team, I don't think there's many guys stopping him in close games, in late game situations.
Clutch player of the year.
Yeah. I don't really think there's not a lot of teams that can hope to contain a guy like that. And if so he has Sabonis going off with him, they're gonna be really hard to beat, bro. So I think I gotta pick the Kings, even though I love that Pelicans roster. I'm not gonna lie.
The funny thing is, if this was a 7-game series, I'd probably pick the Pelicans, but this is a single. I'm picking the Kings for one game.
That's
yeah,
fair.
maybe
Single game elimination. Who has the better player? Probably the Kings. So yeah, that's fair.
I'm gonna rock with the Pelicans. Zion's getting hot. You add Trey Murphy back, surround him with more shooting. They're just getting right at the right time for this in-season tournament run.
That's gonna be a shootout. I can't wait for that.
That's gonna be a great game. That's gonna be a really fun one to watch.
Boom. Ain't nobody gonna be playing defense.
They should all be good games to watch, except for maybe the Bucks and the Knicks. They might just break everything, but we'll see. Well, being that I mentioned it, we'll mention that one next. Bucks, Knicks. Who do we got? You know, I'm rocking with the Knicks. I have to. It's
the Bucks.
Honestly, I'm rocking with the Knicks too.
Yeah, my boy.
Knicks.
Because the only reason why I'm doing that is for the exact reason that you said, OB. Like earlier when we were talking about Dame as an X factor, like I didn't even know that his 3-point percentage was that low. Like it's everybody's luck runs out at some point. And yeah, he's averaging 28, but like and he could still come in there and get 28. But 50. What makes Dame so unguardable is that, and what has made people come out there and say that he's better than like certain people. I don't think he is, but what's made people come out there and say that he's better than Curry is the fact that this guy can drop 40. Or I don't think he is, but there's people
who said that.
It's literally out there. A lot of people.
They be giving anyone mics these days, man.
A lot of people said like they'll say it's because he's a high volume scorer who shoots 40%. Like if he's not shooting efficiently, like I just don't think. I don't think. And also, I don't think that he and like as good as they've been. I don't think that he and Giannis have synced in the way that like I thought it would.
Nope.
Like when I first saw the duo come together, like I thought that like the league was about to be completely.
I thought it was cooked. I thought it was GG.
Like I thought it was genuinely cooked. I thought we were about to see like
Damian Lillard next to Giannis. What the fuck?
I thought I was gonna see like a logo 3 like every game, and then when they double, like he just passes it to somebody who just takes 2 dribbles, not even 1 dribble, and then dunks it. Like I thought it was gonna be like some real like modern day Kobe and Shaq, and it's not modern day Kobe and Shaq at all. So I think I'm gonna go with the Knicks. I feel like they're gonna sneak in.
I don't know, man. I think they're hot at the right time.
Yeah, bro. I think I'm gonna have to pick the Bucks on this one. Not just because like I am a very advocate Nick hater, but I just think I don't think if it really all depends on how good Julius Randle plays. If he goes out here and has
We're
7,
fucked.
if he has 7 points on like 5 for 22 shooting,
No, you're right.
game's cooked. Jalen Brunson can have 60. They will still probably lose by 10, 15, or 12 points because the even scoring that the Bucks can give you throughout the starting lineup, it's really gonna be hard to beat. And it's Damian Giannis against the Knicks, so why not?
My thought process is if the Knicks can win a game, I'm going to pick them to win the game. So they can win the game. And like you said, if Julius just doesn't,
it's possible.
It's just like when I have to sit here and be like, I just have to rely on Julius Randle, not to have 30, just not to have 6.
Just a 20, maybe.
Turn the ball over 5 times. Like
honestly, the Knicks could win this game if Julius gets 18 and 10.
Exactly. Yeah, he doesn't need to have a crazy game. Brunson's going to do his thing.
12.
Right. Brunson's going to do his thing, and then if we could just do the little things like offensive rebounding, which we're really good at, and just make hustle plays, I really think this game could go our way. So that'll bring us to the final game in the court.
Wait, are y'all in New York or is it in Milwaukee?
It's in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee.
I think.
GG's.
But moving on. Next game we'll talk about. Sleazy is your team, the Indiana Pacers versus the Boston Celtics. I believe this is in Indiana, if that makes a difference to you.
It is in Indiana.
Yeah, it's in Indy.
I don't give a damn.
Right.
I think, honestly, I'm gonna go with Boston, but it's really, really close because Indy did not lose a game in the tournament.
Nah, don't be like that, bro.
They had 100. Listen, Indy, I think, scored over like 120 points in every single game in the in-season tournament that they played at home. Like, do not sleep on this.
They probably gave up 120 points.
W's W. Doesn't matter.
W though.
Doesn't matter.
Like I can go there. Okay, so they beat the Cavs 121-116, and then they beat the Sixers 132-126, and then they beat the Hawks 157-152, and then they beat the Pistons 136-113.
They gave up 152 points to the Hawks.
Yeah, you didn't.
But they scored 157.
Scored 157.
So who cares? Offense wins championships, man.
Why did I know that? When did the Hawks score 150?
I didn't know that either. I
like
I
last
remember
week.
seeing the score.
Yeah,
we were recording. We were recording the podcast.
That was the game. That was the game that Halliburton had 37 and 16.
Damn.
Yeah, and went 9.
Yeah, but that shit doesn't fly against the Celtics.
If he's giving up 150 to Atlanta, we might get 370 or something, bro.
Nah.
Unbiasedly.
Yeah, it's the Celtics.
It's the Celtics. I mean, granted, I wouldn't like take that Atlanta game too much out of proportion because, like OB said, it's not going to happen against Boston. He did that shit to Trey. Like they both scored 38 on each other. Like so it's
your vibe.
Yeah, it's the Celtics. I really want to be the bad guy and pick the Pacers, but it's the Celtics.
Now I'm not gonna lie. We could very much lose this game.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, would I be surprised if it went the other way?
It's not just like this is the fan in me talking that I think we're gonna win just like you with the Knicks. I think we're gonna win every game we play. But we could very much have 25 turnovers as a team and lose this fucking game to Tyrese Halliburton, a generational game.
Yeah.
We could very much, like the last time we played them, we put up 155 on them, but Tyrese wasn't playing. But regardless.
Oh, man, Tyrese's defense is really going to stop the Celtics, man.
Really you don't have to convince me, dog. Didn't y'all lose? Wait, who'd you guys lose to? You guys
Charlotte, yeah. Don't remind me. Went to the free throw line and act like he's shaking in his fucking compression shorts and forgot how to shoot a fucking free throw. Don't get me started, please.
Lost to some bugs. And then got beaten by 20 by the Magic, but the Magic are nice right now, so I can't even.
Damn.
Look, the Magic have beaten us every game. They beat us every game last year. They swept us last year, and they might fuck around and do it again this year.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
As crazy as that sounds, like
I love
that's one of those teams that has our kryptonite, bro. It's just
for sure.
So, Brad, you get tonight. You guys want to just talk about Orlando then and start off?
No.
Well, we gotta
go through the rest of the bracket.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, my bad.
So.
We consensus. What do we have? Celtics.
Consensus here. We'll do this one first because we were consensus on this, but not the West. So we have Bucks, Celtics. Well, no, actually we were 2-2 on the Bucks and the Knicks.
Shit. How do we determine who we
Heads,
advance?
flip a coin, good old fashioned.
Yeah. Anyone
All
got
right,
a
what is
coin?
it? I mean, I was just gonna ask Siri, but
I was about to say I picked up my phone immediately.
No.
us new age kids, man.
I got a coin. All right.
Tails never fails. I'll take tails for the Knicks.
Tails never fails.
Tails for the Knicks.
Stinker.
It's heads.
Fuck. That
Damn.
means Julius Randle's gonna put up 9.
Julius Randle
All
shit
right.
show income.
All right.
Well, Bucks Celtics is probably more interesting to talk about anyway. So, 1-seeded Bucks versus 3-seeded Celtics would be in Milwaukee. Single game elimination.
It's the
What do we think?
Bucks, man.
Oh, hell no.
Dame Dollar hears all this chitter chat about Drew Holiday this, Drew Holiday defense. Drew Holiday locked Dame up in the 2012 playoffs? I was in middle school when that happened. Dame Dollar's different. He's gonna cook Drew Holiday's ass, and the Bucks are going to win.
I'm gonna take the Bucks for a different reason. I think Giannis is tired of getting locked up by that old man. I think he's fucking sick of people calling Al Horford the Giannis stopper.
I would be.
And I think they take this game and they're like, yo, like this is a game we really want to make a statement, and I think they take it.
I'm gonna go with Boston, and the reason why I'm gonna go with Boston is because it's not even about Drew Holiday being like the Dame stopper. It's really just about I don't think the Bucks have a single person on this team that can stop Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Like, don't get me wrong. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, this is the same team that sent these guys home last year. Like they sent them home comfortably. Like, not last year, but 2 years ago.
I was gonna say earlier.
2 years ago. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
The same guy that sent them home comfortably 2 years ago, and their perimeter defense is significantly worse. Like, I feel like it's not good. It's not good. This is easy. This is an easy, like, they come in there and get 30 and beat them type of situation. Add in the fact that you look at what Holiday has done. I feel like Holiday, like, forget defense on Dame. They now have another guy that can give you 15 to 20 points. And if Porzingis plays, that's yet another guy that's going to give you 15 to 20 points. The problem with Boston before, which is what allowed them to be beaten by the Bucks historically, is that you have Giannis and you have all these different players who can chip in points for the Bucks, and then the Celtics were just duo heavy. And now they've completely flip-flopped, where you have all these guys in the Celtics that can give you something, and the Bucks are duo heavy. It's not going to happen.
Well, I think y'all know my answer. I'm going to pick the Celtics, obviously. And I'm going to go off a reason that I've been saying that I am not worried about the Bucks since they acquired Damian Lillard. And I've seen, okay, I'm not going to lie. When the trade happened, I was a little nervous. But seeing them play through, 19, 20 games into the year, some close to like that, I'm not going to say we could very much lose by 50. Like, Dame and Giannis could have like historical games and beat the brakes off us. But why would I say that? Why would I believe that? Because I don't think there is a single person on that roster. Not Pat Connaughton, not Malik Beasley, not Chris Middleton, not Dame, not Brook Lopez. Everybody but Giannis on that team. There is nobody that is guarding Jaylen Brown other than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Jaylen Brown's left hand will guard him.
Jaylen Brown. All right.
Even then, the guys that can make Jaylen Brown like work and like have to go to his left, the Bucks do not have them. Like, the Bucks do not.
And for that reason alone,
they traded the guy who could have done that.
I'm picking the Jays with 240. I'm 42, 6-5 from Jason. 34.
Look, his computer even knew that was bullshit. It glitched out. His computer glitched out. So they knew he was lying.
And I smell another Derek White masterclass incoming.
Yeah, the Celtics are definitely deeper, so it's gonna be a tough game.
Have Dame in solitary confinement with Drew and D White. Yeah. He might have like 12,
but he might have like 40.
But he might also have 70.
So
All right. So out west, didn't we split on both games?
I think so. I said Lakers. I think the
we
Shield
split on
said
this one.
Lakers.
I said Lakers.
And also, you said Suns, right?
No, I picked Lakers.
Oh, so Lakers win. that.
Lakers
Okay.
advance. What about the Pelicans?
Kings, Pelicans. I picked Pelicans.
I picked Kings.
Pelicans.
Yeah, I picked the Kings.
That's
All
2-2.
right, so that's
Okay.
split. All
Get
right,
the
what's
point.
the call?
I called the last time. Heads for the Kings?
Heads for New Orleans.
Okay.
Tails never fails.
Tails.
Let's go. Oh wait, fuck. No, I didn't want that. Shit.
All right,
Man,
so what is it? Kings,
Lakers,
Kings, Lakers?
Yeah.
It's the Lakers, man.
Yeah, I think this one might not
It's
even
the
be
Lakers.
close.
This is Lake Show. Yeah, Lake Show's winning that, I think.
LeBron needs that money,
it's
man.
a lot of like hypotheticals as to like a lot of ifs need to happen for them to really win this game comfortably. But again, I don't think
Like,
there's a solo
the only
Kings roster.
see, here's the
starting
thing.
LeBron.
I'm not gonna diss the Kings because the Kings did just beat LeBron in a
Yeah.
regular season game, right? But what happened in that game, I also think is like it's like a 50-50 toss-up. Like that is the game which Anthony Davis decided I'm gonna score 9 points. And bonus just happened to give him 29 and 16.
Yeah, I don't think that
29,
happens.
16 and 7, particularly, and only missed 4 shots. I don't think Anthony Davis is gonna let Sabonis only miss 4 shots against him again.
No, if Anthony Davis comes out against Phoenix and has 14 and 5 and they somehow win, then it's wraps for Sacramento, right? Because he's going to come out and have fucking 30.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but even so, like these games are all this kind of the similar thing. Like, would it surprise me if the Kings won? No, because the Kings can absolutely get hot. Don't think the Lakers really have an answer for De'Aaron Fox. But yeah, I don't think Sabonis is gonna. I don't think Anthony Davis is gonna let Sabonis cook him again.
Lakers don't have an answer for De'Aaron Fox, and the
not
Kings,
even close. Yeah, not even.
Kings do not have an answer for LeBron. Almost every single one of these games comes down to the second star living up to what they do.
And the Lakers just need. They don't need the whole roster to be hot. They just need 2 role players to have.
They usually do
15 on good efficiency. Like that's all they really need.
It's usually Torian, Reeves,
or
Torian, Reeves, or Reddish.
Yeah.
Usually.
All right, so that makes our championship game the Lakers and Celtics.
This is the closest thing we might get.
Storied rivalry. Yeah. Storied rivalry here.
I'm gonna go with Boston here. Love the Lakers. I think I'm gonna have to go with Boston this time. Simply because like these games we've been seeing from D'Angelo Russell, like Drew
They're only gonna get worse.
Drew and White is going to take that shit away, and like it's really just going to be LeBron. I can't trust AD to like match whatever Jaylen Brown is putting up because Jaylen Brown is going to cook whoever the shooting guard is. Like it's really just positional matchups. Like Lakers perimeter defense is not good. Their team defense is good. The perimeter defense itself is not good. They're going to get fried on the perimeter.
Especially to a team that likes to shoot a lot of threes.
Yeah. They shoot like 22 to 25 threes a game.
And usually if we hit 40% of those, we most likely we win most of the games where we shoot 40 to 42% from 3. So I'm picking the Celtics.
I'm gonna take my glorious Pookie Bear King, LeBron. And if there's something to be won, God damn it, LeBron wants to win it. And I don't know. Yeah, the Celtics, the matchups might not be great, but the Lakers, if LeBron really puts on a clinic, and if Anthony Davis, obviously it's going to come down to Anthony Davis. If he has a stinker, they stand no chance. They're going to get blown out. But if Anthony Davis can put up a great game, and then you can get, I think D'Lo gets locked. I think you're right about that. But if you can get Reeves, if you can get Torian Prince to get off to a good shooting night, I really think the Lakers can take it, man.
Yeah, I'm going to rock with the Lakers. It's simple. LeBron James solidifies his legacy because he will have one in-season tournament championship and Michael Jordan will have none.
True.
I can't wait to put that on TikTok.
LeBron will be the GOAT, and it's that simple.
Is, but yeah.
Well, he already is.
Yeah, he already
That's
is.
the in-season tournament.
Hey, Tom, are you wearing a Drake shirt?
I am wearing a Drake shirt. Good eye.
Wait, I got to say.
Do you really? That's gas.
All right. that's the in-season tournament. Games Monday are going to be a viral schmovie.
Yo, I like what Drake likes. Let's go.
Wow.
The merch was kind of
Games-
mid. Me and Obi were just talking about it, but yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, the
man.
merch was definitely mid.
Yeah. All right. That's the in-season tournament. Games Monday will be a schmovie. We'll move on to something else. Something that I guess makes me excited. I don't know how I even feel about it. This team is 2-8 over their last 10 games. They somehow beat the Bucks with no Zach LaVine, no DeMar DeRozan. As you could tell, it's obviously the Chicago Bulls. So we will be dismantling the Chicago Bulls. This is how we will dismantle the Bulls. So we each came up with trades to get rid of Zach, DeMar, and Alex Caruso. You know, I said before we started, make as many trades as you want. If you want to put them all in the same trade, if you want to combine two of them in the same trade, if you want to do 3 separate trades, a 3-team trade, whatever you want to do, get creative with it. So this is how we will dismantle the Bulls. I'll get it started. I made a trade for Zach LaVine, and it was tough to trade these guys, all of them, honestly, to find partners for them. Zach LaVine, it came out yesterday that there's no market for him, which is crazy.
Insane to me.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I believe it. I think there has to be teams inquiring about him. There has to be some type of market for him.
Shit, I want him on my team.
I thought about a team that I think needs change more than any other team. If you look through the 30 teams in the NBA, there's one team that stands out amongst the rest in terms of they need some type of change, and that's the Detroit Pistons. So and they need the spacing. So I traded Zach LaVine to the Pistons, and in return, the Bulls get Jaden Ivey, James Wiseman, who's on an expiring, and Joe Harris, who's also on an expiring. It was to make the money work. And then they receive a first-round pick from the Pistons, maybe in 2027, maybe with some type of protection. And then they have a 2026 second via Minnesota, New York, New Orleans, or Portland. I guess there's some type of protections on it to determine whose pick it is. And then a 2027 second from the Pistons. So a first, 2 seconds, Ivy Wiseman, and Joe Harris. I think for the Bulls, you get a young guard with a promising future who clearly isn't wanted or needed by his current team. You get 2 guys on expiring contracts, and you get some picks. I think it's a win across the board for the Bulls. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for the Bulls, I think it's a win. I don't know about Detroit, man. I don't know that LaVine is in their
Yeah,
time.
I feel like sending him to Detroit is kind of like
they have 2 wins. They're
I would feel bad for
You know?
him if he got sent to Detroit.
It would be a Detroit a Pistons thing to do though, like signing like when they got Blake Griffin back in the day. Like
I think like I said, I think they're desperate for some change. Obviously, they're the worst team in the NBA. They just brought in Monty Williams, made him the richest coach in NBA history. Clearly, Jaden Ivey, it's not working out with Jaden Ivey there. It's better to cut your losses earlier than later. While Jaden Ivey might be at the peak of his value. Like we don't know what Jaden Ivey's career is going to be. He's still a top 5 pick in his second year. Like his value is pretty high. And this draft class isn't that strong either. There's no Wembanyama, there's no Zion. It's not a year where it's like we must tank for this top 3 pick because there's a generational talent. There's not really any generational talents. So, and I'm not saying Zach LaVine makes the Pistons a playoff team, but why not go try and win a few more games? Like the culture is so bad there that the only fix is winning games. And I think Zach LaVine will help it. I'm not saying he makes them a playoff team, but does he give them a few more wins? Does he make them maybe a little bit better than the worst team in basketball?
Probably,
yeah. There's how many years are left on Zach's contract? Is it 2 or 3?
He has 4 years.
I think it's 2.
Oh, he extended?
Yeah, I think he has 4 years.
Oh, 4. Yeah, so that's the thing too. Is like
let me double check.
Yeah, before I go in on
that. Zach LaVine has until 2026, 2027, where he has a player option for $48 million. So we'll probably take that. So he is this
3
year,
years.
next year, the year after that, and then he has a player option.
Yeah, I mean, if you're rebuilding, do you really want to be tied to that contract for the next 3, maybe 4 years? I don't know, man. I think I'd rather just.
But
I mean, who else are you paying?
Detroit could really like.
I guess that's
I
true.
don't think Detroit minds paying that for a guy like that.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess who else are they going to pay? Yeah, they have a good couple of years on their guys.
It's not a huge market to go and play in Detroit, especially since they're
Yeah, true. Yeah, okay,
All
that's
right.
fair.
So the next trade I have is DeMar DeRozan getting traded, and I sent DeMar to the Knicks, and
interesting.
the only reason I did it was because I've heard the Knicks are amongst like potential suitors, but DeMar, I mean, if you want to talk about a guy where there might not be a market for him, like I just don't know what contending teams need DeMar's skill set.
Yeah.
And then when I look at the Knicks just have the assets to do a trade like this where it doesn't you don't have to give up one of your better players, and two, it doesn't really like empty your asset pool in terms of picks. Like you'll still have a plethora of picks. So I have DeMar heading to the Knicks, and the Bulls getting Evan Fournier, Daquan Jeffries, Jericho Sims, a top 10 protected 2024 pick from Detroit, and a second round pick in 2024 from Detroit. And
yeah, I saw. I'll go first because I'm the Knicks guy. I saw that report yesterday that he wants to go to the Knicks or the Heat, and I started thinking about it. And immediately, I was like, no, well, I don't want DeRozan. Why do I want DeRozan? But I was like, you know what? You might be able to get him for so cheap that even if he is on an expiring deal, you give up a bunch of assets that you don't really care about. Like you said, Fournier, Sims, Daquan Jeffries, take those guys. 124 protected pick, take it. But DeMar just like, the more I see it, the less I like it. You know what I mean? Like it's just I don't know if what he offers is what the Knicks need. I know the Knicks do need a reliable scoring option, but they need spacing, they need shooting, and DeMar doesn't play a whole lot of defense either. So I don't know how Tibbs is going to feel about that.
yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about it on the Knicks side of things. On the Bulls side of things, I think you just like if you can get something for DeMar, you get it. It doesn't really matter what it is.
Yeah. And then my final trade, I sent Alex Caruso to the Sacramento Kings. And in return, the Bulls get Davion Mitchell, who's fallen out of the rotation. He's still a young guard, still on a rookie contract. Kessler Edwards, who's on a cheap expiring, and then a 2025 first from the Kings.
That's kind of fire.
I think that out of all the trades, like I really cooked on that one. I think Sacramento, you get a guy who does what Davion Mitchell was supposed to do for you, but actually does it at a good level, maybe even an elite level. Davion Mitchell hasn't been good, hence why he fell out of the rotation. You get a guy in Caruso who could space the floor at times, and we know what he brings defensively. In terms of the Bulls, I mean, you get another young guard and another first-round pick. So now you brought in Jaden Ivey and Davion Mitchell, and between the three trades I made, you brought in potentially three first-round picks. I mean, I don't know if it's the best trade packages we could get, but I think I'm okay with that. Restart. You add two young guys. You reset your picks now because, we're done giving the Magic picks from the Vucevic trade. So we have all of our picks. You add three more. I mean, it's a good start to a rebuild, I think. You have two young guards who have some promise.
For sure. Yeah, I would love that if I'm the Kings. They need any sort of defense they can get. And Alex Caruso is just a team. Alex Caruso is just a player that, like, just makes the energy on your team better because he does things that no one else wants to do. And he does them at a really high level. So I love Alex Caruso going to the Kings. And for the Bulls, I think there's a real market out there for Caruso. I saw a report like a couple of days ago that he could get like a Drew Holiday type package, which I don't think that's true, but it shows that there is real hype around a Caruso trade. Yeah. So, yeah.
What do you guys got?
So I don't have much. I have the first trade that I don't have a DeRozan trade because I just like you said I really don't know where he's
It's
gonna go.
hard.
But I have a Vucci Main trade. I think Vucci Main could go to. I'm stealing this off of Bleacher Report just so you guys know because I don't really can't really come up with trades like that. But I got Vucci going to the Grizzlies for Luke Kennard, Zaire Williams, and a 29 protected pick. I think when you look at Vucevic, a lot of protected pick. I think when you look at Vucevic, there's a lot of. I don't know that there's many teams that really need a center that can score, space the floor, and pass, but is as negative on defense as he's been. And he sometimes has good games on defense, but overall he's not very good on defense. But I think seeing as how the Grizzlies have Jaren Jackson Jr. starting at the 4 to protect the rim, I think it's a perfect fit for Vucevic. They need some help, and they don't have many wins either, but they are getting Ja Morant back, and that's going to change things. And I think Vucevic is a 1-2 with Ja, and pick and pop type situation. And it'll obviously space the floor for Ja to get to the rim. So all the better.
Yeah, no, I think Vucevic in Memphis is actually a really good fit. Like you said, playing next to Jaren will only help him. He could space the floor for Ja. He sets hard, big screens. He'll rebound the ball, which Jaren, kind of lacks. He'll make up for that. Kind of do what Steven Adams does, maybe to a lesser extent in terms of the toughness in the defense, but also provide spacing that Adams does not provide.
Right.
I mean, if this team makes this trade and then gets Ja back simultaneously, like they might be able to make a push low key.
Yep. And on the Bulls side of things, you get a 29 protected first. You get Levine off your books, and you get Zaire Williams, who has shown he's a young, promising forward. He can definitely give you something. He's a cool player.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
What happened to Sleazy?
I was wondering why he was just staring for so long, but yeah, that makes sense.
What do you got?
I got one more. I got when I was thinking of Zach LaVine destinations, I think the only one that really made sense that I could come up with is the Warriors. I think they're a team that's not afraid to make that move. And I think
my team, Tom.
What? I stole your team? Yeah, my bad, bro. Let's see if I have a similar trade package. I have because I actually just read the report. They came out with it a couple like an hour ago that they are not looking to trade Klay Thompson. So that's out of there. So I got Chris Paul, Kuminga, and a 27 lottery protected first going to the Bulls for Zach LaVine. For the Bulls, I think you get a cool young prospect.
You snatched my offer, buddy.
Did I? I completely ripped it off the internet as well. But I completely ripped that off Bleacher Report as well. But I'll let you talk more about it then. But I just think the Warriors are a team that makes sense to make that move. They're not afraid to go get a guy like Zach, and I think he really opens up things for them. And they might not think they're done winning championships as the rest of us do. So the Shields, you can go more in depth on it.
All right. So, Chris, I think it was you who mentioned it. Yeah, you who mentioned it. I was trying to come up with a trade for Vucevic, but I was trying to think and piece it together, like financials and stuff, but I didn't get that together. Here's what I did come up with. What I did come up with was a big ass trade that I feel like would be beneficial for both sides. I look at the Warriors. I feel like they are definitely feeling the loss of not having Poole there. Yeah, Jordan Poole is a headache. But also like the explosive scoring really supplemented just how far Klay has fallen. And I feel like in those short spurts last year when it was Poole and Klay together and they would lose games by a little bit or they would like win games, they kind of like convinced themselves that Klay was coming back to the same person. But the reality is he's not the same. And it was Poole doing a lot of the work, or if not doing a lot of the work, acting as a distraction on the floor where Klay was more open. So the trade that I have sends LaVine to the Warriors. It also dumps CP3. So I have Zach LaVine going to the Warriors, CP3 going to the Lakers, and then D'Lo, Kuminga, Max Christie, 2 firsts and 2 seconds going to the Bulls. D'Lo's on a very tradable contract. This past offseason, he signed a 2-year, I think it was 2-year 40. So very movable. I feel like CP3 is the exact kind of point guard that the Lakers need. have been looking for, a kind of guy that can really take some of the edge off of LeBron in terms of like the pacing. And I feel like CP3 is the kind of person that could really take advantage of that bench mob that the Lakers have and make them an even better team, because now Anthony Davis has two guys that he can run pick and roll with, which would really add a lot to the Lakers. I also think LaVine fulfills that flamethrower kind of role. A backcourt of LaVine and Curry would work wonders for the Warriors. And I feel like that type of haul that the Bulls would get for LaVine, that's like, honestly, that's really good. You get D'Lo there. He's there for like a year or two, and then he's gone. Kuminga is a nice young prospect that you can put in there at that power forward spot. Podziemski is not Podziemski. I had him there as an alternate to Max Christie. Max Christie coming in there, we haven't seen that much from him. He comes in there and works wonders. And then those firsts are the best. I feel like that's the best draft compensation that you're going to get for LaVine, all things considered.
Yeah.
The DeRozan one, I had some struggles with that as well. Like we mentioned before, hearing that there's not really like, yeah, he picked his teams that he wants, but like nobody's really biting the bait. I feel like a contender is like the only. I feel like a contender is the best option. Like his skill set, his ability lines up with what a lot of other teams would like in terms of like a bridge scorer, but his age is what throws the whole thing off. I think he's like 34, 35 years old. I think the only team that he's can go for right now is a contender. And I feel like there's an obvious connection. It's where his former teammate is. It's a contending team. It's one of the destinations that he wanted to go to. And it's a team that has missed out on multiple big stars in the past couple of years due to their reluctance to pull the trigger. And now they can get a guy that can really surge for a discounted rate given how he's playing. So I have DeRozan going to the Miami Heat. Kyle Lowry is there. They missed out on Beal. They missed out on Dame. They missed out on Russell Westbrook a few years ago because they were reluctant to move a player in order to bring in a big star to really complete their superstar trio. Hero has shown his signs of being that third person sometimes, but he's also fallen off on some occasions. So the trade package that I have is Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, a first, and 2 seconds. I feel like that's the best that they could possibly get. The Bulls can't really capitalize too much on DeRozan because he's not playing that well. His contract is a lot of money and he's older. So I feel like this gives them a chance to get some serviceable players. Best case scenario will be off their books as soon as possible, get some small draft compensation in there and hope that they can get somebody nice. The first that I had, I went and did the research for the pick. It'd be a 2027 first. So, it's a couple years down the line. You don't know what you're going to get, but you might get something nice.
Yeah, you don't know where Miami will be at that point.
Yeah, at that point they might be falling apart, given out the age.
I think the Heat is the only team, in my opinion, that makes sense because, like I said, the Knicks, I struggle with the fit a little bit, but I think Miami is a team that's better off figuring out how he fits on the team rather than the Knicks. Because we've just seen Miami be able to make it work with what they have, and DeRozan would give them some
obvious fit.
Yeah, I think Miami's the only other fit.
Amazing.
They need
passer. As a passer, he's shown ever since San Antonio, he's shown a lot of strides like a passer. I feel like in this situation, he wouldn't be playing out of position. On the Bulls, they've had him playing out of position like at power forward for long stretches. He should not be playing power forward. He's not good enough defender, nor is he big enough to be playing power forward. I feel like you put him on Miami. Defensive responsibility goes off way down. Offensive responsibility just allows him to be himself. And playing next to Jimmy, you have two guys that can attack the mid-range, attack the rim with ease. That gives them a lot, and it just goes with what Miami's style of play is. And I feel
they already live in the mid-range.
The last thing I was going to say was that it's perfect for Jimmy because Jimmy is a person that slacks off in the regular season but turns it up in the playoffs. And DeRozan is the opposite. He's a person that comes in the regular season and turns up and falls off in the playoffs. So this allows the Heat to have a better seeding going in, so they don't have to play like great, crazy teams, and that will open up their playoff chances a lot.
Yeah, for sure. That was my other thing about the Knicks is I was like, if I have to watch Julius, RJ, and DeMar DeRozan all play like shit in the playoffs, it's not gonna be a fun experience. But Miami, they already make a living in the mid range with Bam, Jimmy, and even Hero. So DeRozan would just open that up even more. But I like that.
5 is great.
Can't wait for the Bulls to start selling everyone, man.
Yeah. Although I
Let's
did see
rebuild.
someone say that like the win against the Bucks, it feels like a Bulls thing to do to like cop out and be like, yo, maybe it can work this year. But no, they're not going to do that. They're
No,
done. They're going to blow it up.
No, I feel like that's more of an incentive to trade them
Yeah.
because we won without them.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Let the kids play, man.
For sure. Let the kids play.
At the bare minimum, DeMar has to go. Like, you can keep Levine for another year, like, see what the market looks like, especially like in the offseason next year when a lot of teams are like, okay, where do I want to go with this? Do I want to switch my stars? Do I want to become a contender? Like, we could easily see a team like Orlando decide this offseason that they don't want to wait with their young core of Anthony Black and all these guys and just be like, fuck it, Franz and Paolo are already good. Let's get a third shooter who's proven. And just decide to win. Like, that is something that Orlando could do. Orlando is a second destination that I had in mind for Levine, given how like lethargic the offense has been. The other package that I had for Levine was Levine for Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, and 2 seconds. And I feel like that's perfect. That perfectly lines up with what the Bulls are trying to do and perfectly lines up with what the Magic would need in order to make a little roll in the playoffs.
If we get Cole Anthony and Anthony Black, I'd be ecstatic.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be sick.
I'd be hyped.
Yeah, because he's playing that well.
Yeah, just give me all the young talent and picks, man.
That's it. Yeah.
It's really simple. I know we might sound a little bit boring, but I mean, we've all known it's been time for the Bulls to blow it up since Lonzo Ball got injured. It's been time for the Bulls to blow it up. So that's why it's a little bit boring. But give me all the picks and young talent, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna assume he's not coming back.
Yeah, his power went out.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Yeah. Moving along. Currently on a 9-game win streak, sitting at 14-5, second place in the Eastern Conference. The Orlando Magic. So I'll pose 2 questions to you guys. How have the Magic been so good? What's been the key to their 9-game win streak? And then the second question will be, can they keep this up? And are they legit threats in the Eastern Conference?
You want to go first, Tom?
So, I'll go first because I had a hot take about the Magic that they would finish as the 4 seed. And honestly, I thought it was psychotic back then, but it's not looking too bad right now, you know? So great. I have some numbers. These are as of before the Wizards game, so they might be a little skewed, but they still paint the picture. The Magic are currently second in net defensive rating. They get to the free throw line a lot. I believe they lead the league in attempts and makes, or one or the other. They're very good at getting to the rim. They're 6th in the league in points per game in the paint. The one gripe about their offense is obviously the shooting. Over 42% of their shots come at the rim. And the second and third, that's first in the league by a wide margin. Second and third is the Hornets and Pistons, who are obviously not good teams. So that needs to change. That's as of the dunker spot, too. I saw them on JJ Redick's channel. Good guys. Check them out. The Orlando Magic are here sooner than expected, like a premature baby, but they are here, man. They are balling. Their energy is elite. The thing about the Magic, like we said, they're shooting. They're really good at spacing the floor. They're in the right spot. They move off the ball really well. They just can't knock down shots. Currently, their only good shooter, really, their only reliable shooter is Gary Harris, who has been really good for them. He's shooting over, I think, like 42% from the field or something like that. He's knocking them down. But they're 27th in the league in three-point percentage. Franz Wagner is shooting less than 30% from 3 right now. I don't expect that to continue. So if he can get up around 35% from the field, which is pretty average, I think that will really change things. And their bench, man, they've had the best bench in the league. You got Mo Wagner, Jalen Suggs, bro. I can't say enough about Jalen Suggs. I love this guy. I was telling Obi before the show, I was like, I think I might get a jersey. His energy is unmatched. And what he does on the ball, his on-ball defense is terrific. His off-the-ball defense is terrific. He's poking the ball away a lot. And then he's just hyping himself up. He's hyping his team up. He's hyping the crowd up. And the energy just like translates to the field. He's all over the place, man. He is everywhere. And then he's shooting well from 3. He's averaging like 12, 13 points per game, somewhere around there. And the last 2 points I'm going to make are Anthony Black has been really good. I know before the season we had questions about the fit, not so much about the prospect Anthony Black, but the fit with the Magic. But he fits right in, man. His intangibles have been really good. He moves well on defense. His defense has been definitely translated. He's smart with passing the ball. He's great in transition, and they even got Goga Bitadze. He's been starting at center on this streak because Wendell Carter's missed, I think, all 9 games or close to it. Yeah, and he's been solid for them offensively. He's not great defensively, but just they're getting more than what everyone but me expected to from these guys, and it's fun to watch, man. They really are. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, piggybacking off of that, what you were talking about, Jalen Suggs. I think I was talking to OB. Well, OB is definitely one of the people I was talking about, and I remember like we went back and forth, and I was going crazy about Jalen Suggs as a defender, as a potential prospect. And I think going into the draft, OB was saying that like getting Anthony Black would have been like a nice little thing for like the Magic to do. That he was a great prospect, and I was saying like right after they picked him, I was like they don't need him because Suggs is phenomenal. Yeah. And I still stand on the fact that regardless how Anthony Black plays, I still feel like that was a completely and totally wasted pick. I know for a fact that picking Jett Howard was a completely and totally wasted pick. The entire nation knows that now. Well, they knew that on draft night, but like, so it's a complete waste. But getting back to that, the Magic, the source of their success, like you were saying, their points in the paint. I think it's absolutely phenomenal that they have so many people that are shooting around 50% and with volume. Like Franz Wagner is shooting like almost 50%. Paolo's shooting around 50%. Even Cole Anthony is shooting like 44, 45 or something like that. Suggs is shooting 45, 46. It's field goal percentage all across the board. So many people shooting really efficiently from the field. I feel like that is something that can continue. Also the passing, like Paolo's done a great job distributing. They just have a lot of guys that are finesse finishers that are just really, really efficient shooting in the paint. It's not just all dunks or all just like sets and creating layups. There's a lot of people that just know how to finish smoothly inside. And so I feel like that's something to continue. That they may not remain or finish the season as the 4th seed. I feel like they will end the season somewhere between 5 and 7. Like an early play-in team. I don't know if they won't be a play-in team, but they definitely will make the playoffs. I'm certain of that. I feel like if they were in the play-in, they will make it out. Yeah, so great team. I feel like I said, I just don't feel like Anthony Black was the answer. I feel like if these guys had if they had Hawkins right now or even Grady, like we would like be in serious trouble. Just having a guy like that can shoot really, really well.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's my main thing. What you think?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean the Magic, they clearly have a recipe here of how they're gonna beat you. They're gonna outwork you and they're gonna out physical you, and you see that in their stats. I think it's very, very, very interesting. Their stats, they're 5th in opponent points per game. Their defensive rating is amongst one of the best in the league hold on, sorry. Bear with me 1 second. They're 2nd in the league in defensive rating at a 108.4. But in terms of the percents they're giving up, they're about middle of the pack in terms of, opponent field goal percentage, opponent 3-point percentage, and stuff like that. But they're amongst the league leaders in fewest attempts. And then you look at the steals, they're amongst the league leaders in terms of steals. And it starts with Jalen Suggs. Mm-hmm. Jalen Suggs, his impact defensively, he is having a defensive player of the year type of year with his impact defensively on the perimeter. I mean, when they need a stop, he just is always making the right play, whether it's poking the ball free and diving on a loose ball, whether it's getting a block. I mean, like I was saying to Tom before we started the show last night, I'm watching the broadcast, and they're in a close game with the Wizards with about 5 minutes left, and they made it a point on the broadcast to say something along the lines of, this team is just waiting for one explosive play that's going to get the crowd involved, and then they're going to go on a run and win this game. A few plays after that, Jalen Suggs gets a huge block, pushes it in transition and they end up getting a dunk and the crowd erupts, they take the lead or they go up by 4, whatever it was, and then they never look back. And granted, it's against the Wizards, who are amongst the worst teams in the NBA, but this is every night. This is an every night occurrence over this 9-game win streak. Jalen Suggs, amongst one of the league leaders in terms of deflections too. He just seems to always be in the right spot for this team, especially when they need it the most. When the going gets tough, when it's a close game, he's just in the right spot. We've all noticed he's improved his shooting. His percents are up across the board. And one of the more underrated storylines of the season is the way Paolo Banchero is shooting the ball from 3.
Yeah.
Shooting 46% from 3.
Really,
And one of the concerns with the Magic was the spacing around Paolo and Franz, but when Paolo's spacing the floor like that and shooting that efficiently, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's been great. He's taken strides as a playmaker. He's averaging 5 assists per game, but Paolo's playmaking is deeper than the assist numbers. This team is just well-balanced. They're unselfish. They share the ball. They play efficiently. They get 2s and 3s. It's not a lot of, contested mid-ranges or tough mid-range shots. It's 2s and 3s, and they hustle their ass off defensively. I mean, they're a tough out right now. So, like I said, there was 2 questions. That answers the first one. How have they been so good? But do we think they can maintain this level of play? I mean, they're a top 2 seed right now. So I'll ask the question like this. Do you guys think the Magic could finish as a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference and maybe even win a playoff series?
Win a playoff series, yes. Be top 4 in the conference, no. Well, actually, the playoff series, see, my issue is somebody as good as they've been, somebody needs to start shooting. Like, they need to find a way. Like, I think when the trade market comes around, like, do I feel like when I was laying out those trades for Zach LaVine, I felt like the Warriors would be the most likely destination. The Warriors are the type of team that would make a move like that because they did that before. But the Magic need to get a shooter. If it's not Zach, it could be somebody lesser on the lesser side, but they need to get somebody in there that is like just somebody. It's just like, okay, your job is to shoot. And however they need to move their lineup around in order to accommodate that, they have to do that, because one of my issues with them is their offensive guard play. Guards are usually where you get your shooting from, and they're not really getting the majority of the 3-point shooting from their guards. Anthony Black, as good as he has been defensively, he's kind of like lax in the sense where he's afraid. It almost seems like he's afraid to shoot sometimes when they leave him open. Like, they will leave him open for 3s and he will not shoot it. He's afraid to take it. And so they rotate him out and then they put in Fultz. But Fultz does not have the intensity and defensive capability to do what Black does or Suggs does. And so when they want those explosive plays, they'll rotate Cole Anthony in or they'll rotate Suggs in. But then Cole Anthony doesn't have the defensive, and you can't trust Suggs to be your primary ball handler the entire time. And that is when they rotate back to Black and Fultz. But it's a revolving door of you're not getting shooting, you're not getting intensity. They need to make a trade to get one of those things and at least multiple of those things in one guy and have that be their starter. However, whoever they need to move, whether it's Cole or Suggs or Fultz or even Black, who they just drafted, to get somebody that can do 2 of those things and have them be one of the guards, they need to do it. And I feel like if they do something like that, I will say that they can finish top 4 and they will win a playoff series.
Yeah, I think Markelle Fultz is clearly the odd man out. And if anyone's going to get traded, it's going to be Markelle. Do I think they could finish top 4? I'm going to say no. I think there's a good amount of teams that they're competing with for that spot. I think the Celtics, Bucks, and Sixers are top 3. Or maybe not top 3, but the locks to be in the top 4, we'll say. I think the Knicks are in the running. The Heat are obviously in the running.
Indy's in the running too.
Indy's in the running. I think Cleveland's in the running. And call me crazy, the way Trae Young's playing over his last 5 to 6 games, I think the Hawks are still in the running too if Jalen Johnson gets healthy soon enough. So I think there's a good amount of teams fighting for that spot. So I just think the odds are against them. Do I think they could win a playoff series? if they finish as that 4 or 5 seed. If they don't have to play the Celtics, Bucks, or Sixers in the first round, then yes, I think they can win. I think all those other teams I listed, I think they could beat them in a series. Would I pick them? I don't know. Can they beat them? Yes. The Celtics, Bucks, and Sixers, I don't think they could beat in a series yet.
Yeah. Can they finish the top 4 seed? Look, like I said, I made the prediction before the season. I think they can because you named all those teams, and I think they can definitely be better than those teams. I don't know that they will, though. Like, I'm not saying it with full-fledged confidence. Yes, they're going to be a
come
top
on,
4
man.
seed.
Stand on your business.
Stand on my business. If I'm gonna pick one, I'm picking the Magic. And can they win a playoff series? Absolutely. Can they beat the Sixers, Bucks, or Celtics? I won't go that far. I haven't seen that yet. I do think they need to improve the shooting in order to do that because they play a team like the Celtics are going to get locked down on the perimeter, and it's going to be, or they're going to clog the paint. Yeah, they play the Bucks, they're going to clog the paint, and it's going to make things really hard on them. But yeah, you know what? I will say they can finish a top 4 seed. Absolutely. Magic are super talented head to toe. If they can go make that trade for a volatile shooter, and even the guys on the roster, like I said, Franz Wagner shooting sub 30 from 3. If he can put together a string of games where he shoots really well, Gary Harris has been really good.
I think Franz is averaging 30 over his last 3.
Franz is 30 over his last 3,
exactly,
and 22 over the course of the season.
Yeah, he's absolutely killing it.
Yeah, he's getting it going.
Absolutely killing it. Like I said, these guys are good at spacing the floor. There, if you watch the game, they're in the right spots all the time.
That's the scary
just comes
part.
Down to knocking down shots.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Is they're this good without being one of the better shooting teams. It's like if they, like you said, the shoe. It's like if they go out and make one move and add one really elite shooter, and Franz's 3-point shot comes along, and Suggs and Powell maintain this level of shooting, like they're really a shooter away. Like if they drafted Jordan Hawkins, we're having a completely different conversation because of how good Jordan Hawkins has been. But like they're really a shooter away. So
yeah, they really sold the bag with the draft, and it's tough to say that and be like, wow, they're still really playing because they are still playing really well. But just imagine if they had Grady Dick or Jordan Hawkins.
I don't know what possessed them to take Jett Howard. Whoever that guy is, regardless of how good they play, that guy should be fired. I don't know what possessed. There's nothing.
I mean,
Howard's game.
I was very, very vocal about that. I hated their draft. I really didn't even like the Anthony Black pick, but I guess the Black pick makes sense to be insurance for Fultz. But now that Fultz is out and you're seeing you could win with Anthony Black, it's time to trade Fultz. That was my concern was drafting Anthony Black. Now you have to make another move. So now you see you could win with Black. Go out and make that move. The Jett Howard pick, I don't know if it's going to go down as a complete miss. I do think he has some game. There's a reason why he was regarded as pretty much a lottery talent. Like, I think I was a little bit lower in him. I probably had him closer to the 20s range on my board, but there's a reason why people were very high on him. He could score the ball and he can shoot the ball. I just, like I said at the time, I'll still stand on it. This team needed more of a pure shooter, and there were pure shooters in the draft class in Jordan Hawkins and Grady. So I wasn't a big fan of their draft class, but I think that's what makes it all the more impressive was because I was also vocal about the fact that I thought the Magic had to nail this draft. Not that I didn't think they were a good up-and-coming team, but I thought this past draft was the difference between them being a good up-and-coming team and them being a playoff team and a dangerous team. But they're becoming that despite that. So I think if they could find a trade for Fultz, and maybe if Jett Howard does develop as the season goes on, like we're having different conversations.
Yeah, I think
shout out to Magic.
Shout out to Magic. I mean, they got Joe Ingles out there running pick and rolls and like successfully. It's crazy. Jamal Mosley is doing a hell of a job with this team. He really has them thinking that they're one of the best teams in the East, and they've been to start this season. Absolutely,
a true testament, I think, to just like. Like Elby was saying, like a true testament to like, their perseverance is because, you're looking at them. Yes, they have a nice duo with France and Paolo, but there's a lot of other teams that have a collective group of guys that like are showing out. Like, I know we're not talking about them in this pod, but at a later date, definitely should really go talk about the Rockets and exactly what Ime Udoka has done because like absolutely insane. like what he's done for the defense. I mean, a large percentage of it is Sengun absolutely dominating, but like definitely a lot of stuff going on there. So they did need to nail this draft. The Magic nailing this draft would have made them elite, but they have made the best of the situation. Props to them.
Yeah, man. All right. TikTok time.
TikTok time.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Which NBA player would you rather have based on their stats? All right. Player A averaged 21.8 points per game. Actually, player A is averaging 21.8 points per game, 9.1 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 0.8 blocks. He's shooting 50.2% from the field, 41.1% from 3, and 91.1% from the line. All right. Player
Yep.
B is averaging 22.6 points per game, 12.4 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.1 steals, 2.7 blocks, and he's shooting 55.3% from the field, 27.3% from 3, and 84.4% from the line.
I
A
know who
50,
player B
40,
is.
90 guy versus a defensive menace.
I know who player B is for sure. I'll make my pick and then I'll take a guess. What were the splits again for B?
55, 27, 84.
I think I know what that is.
Yeah. Offense wins championships, bro. Give me player A.
I'm gonna go with player B. He's doing a little bit of everything. The shooting is definitely, the 3-point shooting is definitely a red flag. But the thing that makes me deliver player B is because even though he's not really shooting well from 3, when he's scoring, that free throw, that 3-point percentage of 8, that free throw percentage of 80 something percent, 84%, you said, that's pretty reliable at the line. So that means when he's rim running, he's getting to the line, he's cashing on a large percentage of that, and that's a good.
Is player B Anthony Davis?
So player A is Karl Anthony Towns and player B is Anthony Davis this season.
Give me the big pussy.
Karl Towns shooting 50, 40,
Karl
90
Towns
is crazy.
balling, man. Yeah,
All right.
50, 40, 90 is nuts.
All right, I have one more thing. Can you guys name me the top 5 NBA players in catch and shoot 3-point percentage? And this is with a minimum of 20 attempts.
Is Trey Murphy up there?
No. Trey Murphy only played 1 game. He didn't shoot 20 times.
That's true. That's true.
Season.
Catch and shoot. Goddamn. I knew he was in there last season. That's why I said him. But yeah, he only played 1 game.
I'll give you guys a hint. What was that?
Mikal Bridges in there?
No. I'll give you guys a hint. One of them is obvious.
Is it Steph?
It is Steph.
Okay.
Steph's at 4, shooting 53.3%.
You said catch and shoot threes.
The other 4 guys are random.
Devin Vassell?
No, but there's someone on his team.
Keldon Johnson? Oh,
Not
yeah.
Keldon.
Doug McDermott?
Not Doug.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Trey Jones?
Not Trey Jones.
Malachi Branham.
Not Malachi.
Zach Collins?
Not Zach Collins.
No, why would it be Zach Collins?
You guys are missing 2 key guys. There's 2 starters that you haven't named yet.
Jeremy Sohan?
What was that?
Sohan?
Jeremy Sohan is number 3, shooting 56.5%.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
All right, 3 more. You're missing 1, 2, and 5.
DeAndre Hunter?
No.
Duncan
2
Robinson?
Western Conference guys and 1 Eastern Conference guy.
Duncan Robinson?
No, but there's a guy on his team.
Hero. Tyler Hero.
Not Tyler Hero.
Tyler's been missing games. RJ Hampton?
No. Obscure
It's
guy.
too obscure, yeah.
No,
he's not on the team anymore. Jaime Jaquez?
No. Thicker than Jaime Jaquez.
Kyle Lowry?
Kyle Lowry, number 2 at 56.6%.
Wow, Kyle Lowry. So the other 2 are in the West.
Yeah, you're missing 1 and 5.
The Red Velvet, Kevin Huerter.
No.
Paul George.
Isaiah Joe.
Not Paul George, not Isaiah Joe. A guy on Isaiah Joe's squad.
Hmm.
Jalen Williams.
No.
Better not be the canceled guy.
No.
That's problematic.
I would
That's
never include
No,
it.
no.
Nah, that'd be too obvious. It's not SGA, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's too obvious. You said right. Kenrich Williams.
Nope. It's one of your guys, the Shields.
Yeah.
It's one of
Hassan
your
Wallace?
guys. Kason Wallace is number 1 in the league on catch and shoot 3-point.
He's
Crazy.
I was looking before. He's number 1 in 3-point percentage overall. He's shooting like 57% from 3.
That's
Yeah,
outrageous.
Kason Wallace is number 1 in catch and shoot 3-point percentage at a 56.7.
Yeah,
that's
that's
disgusting.
And you guys are missing number 5. Stretch big in the Western Conference.
catch and shoot. Cat?
Not Cat. Good guess.
Utah. Watanabe.
No.
Laurie Markkinen?
On Lauri Markkanen's squad.
Taylor Hendricks.
No.
Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly Olynyk at a 50.5. Those are the top 5 leaders in catch and shoot 3-point percentage. Kason Wallace, Kyle Lowry, Jeremy Sohan, Stephen Curry, and Kelly Olynyk.
That's crazy, bro.
I mean, anytime you're on a list with Steph Curry, you got to be doing something right?
Yeah.
For
Tom,
sure.
you have a TikTok for us?
I did, but it got deleted in my notes somehow. So
Wow.
it's tough.
All right. Well, I guess that's everything then.
Yeah, it wasn't anything special anyway. It's okay.
I mean, fuck it. Can you guys name the top 5 NBA players in transition points per game this season?
Oh man.
This list is not as obscure, I'll tell you that much. It's like all-star level players.
De'Aaron Fox?
Not De'Aaron.
Tyrese Maxey?
Not Tyrese Maxey.
Gets out and runs. Tyrese Halliburton?
No. It's transition points per game. It's not the most ones.
Oh, fair enough. I'm just thinking of guys that like get out and run a lot.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not Hallie, but transition points per game.
Shields, any guesses, bro?
Russell Westbrook?
No. Not Westbrook.
Not anymore.
SGA?
SGA is number 3 at 7.2.
Who else runs a lot?
Steph?
Not Steph.
Steph doesn't run like that. Fox?
Not Fox.
Yeah.
Who else runs?
Think about shooting guards that get to get out and push it in transition.
Maxey?
Not Tyrese Maxey.
This kid wasn't listening.
Yeah.
Oh, you said Maxey already?
Yeah, I said Maxey and Fox. Shooting guards that get out in transition. Book?
Not Book. You're on the right track.
Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell was number 1 at 8.7.
Yeah, I figured. I figured he was there. Big dog. Who else?
Still on the right track.
Luka?
Not Luka. Getting off the track a little bit.
Luka's slow and fat.
Yeah.
Trae Young?
Not Trae Young. Getting more off the track. Get back on the track.
Two guards.
Devin Booker.
Oh, two guards.
Guys,
These are all two guards. Okay.
Yeah, think of a 2 guard.
Well, there's 2 more 2 guards and then one guy who's kind of positionless.
You can
think
say
about
Kyrie. Is Kyrie on there? He's technically
No.
2 right now.
Not Kyrie.
Mitchell.
Oh, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards is number 5 at 6.7.
Scotty Barnes.
Not Scotty Barnes.
LeBron?
LeBron's number 4 at 6.7. And you're just missing number 2.
Shooting guard.
He normally, when he scores his transition points, it's going to the right. He doesn't go left.
Oh, Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, number 2 at 7.6.
That's crazy.
And those are the top
That is
5
crazy.
transition scorers in the NBA right now. All right. Well,
I had one more.
Oh,
I have one.
go for it.
Right.
Perfect.
So I wanted to see what you guys thought about this, right? Who do you think are the top 5 in loose balls recovered per game?
Jalen Suggs got to be on there. No?
I have
Nope.
no idea. Loose balls recovered. Caruso?
Nope.
No. How about PJ Tucker?
No.
No.
Bruce Brown?
No.
Mitchell Robinson?
There's
Josh
not
Hart.
a single big in the top 5.
Josh Hart.
No, not Josh Hart.
Derek White?
Nope.
Drew Holiday?
Nope. None of
Oh my
them
God.
are on. Well, actually, one of them is on a really good team. One of them super obvious. Like not super obvious, but like super, like relatively obvious.
Asar
was just-
Thompson?
Yes, Asar Thompson
Ooh,
is
that's
number
good.
1.
Yeah. Good guess. Good guess.
Shit.
One of them's on a really good team.
Jeremy Sohan?
Nope.
Scotty Barnes?
Scotty Barnes is number 3.
Dylan Brooks?
Dylan Brooks is not there.
Fred VanVleet?
Nope. Not Fred.
Tari
Van-
Eason?
Nope. Not Tari Eason.
Shit. Robert Covington?
Nope. Not Robert Covington. One of them is super obvious. Like this guy is like a
Jimmy
gunner.
Butler?
Nope. Not Jimmy Butler.
Who's diving on the ground a lot? That's what I'm trying to think.
Grant Williams?
Not Grant Williams.
Herb Jones.
Not Herb Jones.
What are we missing right now? Numbers.
You're missing numbers 2, 3, and 5. 1 was Asar Thompson. 3 was Scotty Barnes.
DeJounte Murray?
No, not Deontay Murray. 5 is gonna like baffle you. 5 is something outrageous.
Jordan Poole?
No. Warm though.
Oh.
Somebody who's equally lax when it comes to running.
Can't be James Harden.
No.
Zach
Good.
Levine?
No. That's a little too far. Somebody really lax in the James Harden realm. That type of guy. Star player.
Trey Young?
No. So that's very warm though. They have a
Tyrese Halliburton?
No. That's very
Luka?
far. Yes, Luka's number 5.
Wow. Holy
crazy.
shit.
Number 5 for loose
All
balls
right.
per game.
Can I
For
get
what?
Jalen Brunson?
Brunson's not there. You already guessed Jalen Brunson. So now you need 2 and 3.
Can we get a
Manuel quickly?
conference?
They're both in the West.
Okay.
Dyson
Both in the
Daniels?
Dyson
That's a
Daniels.
good guess.
Mm-mm.
Shit.
Luke Dort.
No, close though. They're on the same team.
J-Dub.
No.
Shea.
Yeah, Shay's 2.
Yeah.
Now you're missing 3. It's the
Gotta
most
be
obvious
guys.
one. I really thought you guys would have got this. Would have been one of the first ones you got.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro.
He's a 0 to 100 kind of guy.
Westbrook.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Here we go.
That's-
Interesting list.
Yeah.
That was interesting. All right.
So-
Well, that's the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're watching on YouTube, check out all our other content. I'll have some video popping up here at the end here. If you're listening on audio platforms, 5-star, leave a good review. Follow us on all our socials. They'll be linked in the description. We'll be back Wednesday afternoonish. It'll be like this. It'll be a recording in the video section of our YouTube. We're not going to go live, but we'll be back Wednesday. We'll be in the studio with Matty J talking NFL. Real quick, thank you to the Shields for coming on and being a guest today. Thank you to Sleazy, who was here for half of the podcast. It was a fun one. But with that,
BallGame.